Hello and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther. Today is Tuesday, January 5th, 2021, and today's topic is called Sun, Rise, Sky, Ships. It's a collection of images and sky observations happening December 19th, 2020 through January 4th, 2021. And before we get going into those observations, I'd like to say good day, osio, how, buongiorno, guten tag, kia ora, jambo, kedu, buenos dias, bonjour, ni hao, tien dobre, konnichiwa, dobro honya, annyeonghaseyo, boa tarde, dobry dan, aloha winala, kalimera, and guten dag. And today's starter image is just of some homemade Christmastime gingerbread men that found their way to me, and they were fantastic. And I hope everyone here had a beautiful holiday season. And on that note, I'd also like to wish you all a very happy New Year 2021 ahead. And as we start with the first set of sky observations, I'd like to take this time for anyone returning. I just want to say thank you, heartfelt thanks for coming back. And if you are new, a big hearty welcome to you as well. If you are new, you're going to see me looking at original photos and enhanced photos here and walking you through them. When I say enhanced or enhancement, it simply means that I've edited attributes of the photo, such as brightness, contrast, color, saturation, and things of that nature. So here we go. And you're also going to notice on this show, everything is a little out of order. It's not going to be all chronological, so just take a look at the date and timestamps at the bottom if you're curious about when some of this stuff was happening. So as we get going, this one is just called Triangular Objects at Moon. So I don't have the best camera for taking nighttime shots, but you'll get the idea. So I have letters A, B, and C as points of interest. And so in this particular set, I noticed that there seemed to be an imprint of a triangle right at the moon, and there also seemed to be other triangular imprints happening beyond. And actually C I flagged, but that could be part of a palm frond, so we might want to ignore that one for now. But anyway, on the right-hand side, we zoomed in and enhanced things, and we see an undeniable triangle right at where the moon is. And again, 8.1, it seems to be also a darker imprint. So we're going to look a little closer, and here we go. Again, this is undeniably a triangular form and reoccurring, throughout the photo. So the question is, what is going on? What is that triangle doing? It's obviously some kind of tech. Whether that's advanced military or ET technology or a collaboration. And the question is, what is it doing there? I don't have any answers on that one, so I'm going to just table this for now, but see what you think. Okay, this one's called Cloaking Craft Odd Sun. This time, we're looking out east on the bay, Biscayne Bay in Florida, South Florida, and there was a lot of weird things happening around the sun, but I'm not going to cover them in this show. I'm just kind of setting up for an upcoming scene. This was a part of a kayaking tour that I took, so these pictures are taken from the water itself. And I had that one little area marked A, so we're going to zoom in on this particular cloud at 8.1, because it had a weird triangular shape to it. And then the clouds lining it, framing it, also were coming here at a right angle. So it just really kind of caught my attention. So I zoomed in and enhanced the photo to see if we could get at anything specific. And if you'll note on some of my previous shows, I have some very specific machine parts popping out of some of these clouds, and I've labeled them and even traced over them. So if you look at Awe-Filled Sunset, there's a very clear example of a very detailed ship with machine parts up in the sky, with much more clarity than this for right now. In this particular show, there's not going to be too much in the way of that with cloaking ships and parts, but I have plenty in other shows I've documented before, so have a look there. Anyway, this one I just had a sense more was happening within this little cloud cluster that was meeting the eye. So already I see the end of a pipe shape here. B, there seems to be like a hole, as if that's a little skinny pipe, and these are like specific parts, seems like sticks poking out. Anyway, the overall thing just felt like there was more going on here. And even this darker shadow, forms a triangle. See what you think is going on. All right, so here's just kayaking on the bay. This is not for any unusual activity, although there was some happening around the sun. It was very fake, white and glaring, as I've talked before in previous shows about the idea of a solar simulator. And lens Puddle arrays happening around that turn, a little bit reddish pink in color around the sun. But for now, I'm just going to lightly touch on this and more focus on the overall scene, and a reminder to everyone to get out and live life amidst all of the fear-mongering and propaganda happening around the world over sickness. We really need to bounce that stuff off and keep a higher vibration and continue to do things that keep ourselves healthy and happy and breathing oxygen. And so here is a such example. So a lot of us were kayaking on the bay and had an amazing time. And the sea air filled with the salt from the ocean, it's just perfect, and healthy thing to do. And here we are going through the mangroves, and you can see on the right what they look like without human activity, and on the left, this is just going through. It's a nice experience. Luckily, not too many mosquitoes. All right, so now we're going to get back into the city side, land side, and look at a few interesting things. So this is just called red pink color signature northeast at sunset. This actually happened to be on the winter solstice. I do have a standalone show called Winter Solstice. I have a little bit of overlap of some photos I didn't get in on that show till present. So bear with me in jumping around on the timetable here. But anyway, just notice when we went to go look and try to catch the alignment on the winter solstice, the Great Conjunction, just notice that in the northeast direction of the sky, it was really rosy pink. My camera didn't pick up that signature quite as much as you could see it with the naked eye this time. So we're going to enhance it and see what you see. So you see this big, reddish, or not only a reddish pink tone, but also has like a big spherical shape to it. So that's very telling. And we have this dark blanket of cloud below blocking something. Anyway, let's move on. This is just called strange cloud activity. This is at a towards sunset, looking south-southwest. And in this particular case, the overall cloud just seemed to look odd. The way it was formed, there seemed to be like a hole cut out of it. And then I was looking at A and B, because after doing this for a while now, I start to really just sense certain cloaking craft when I look at a cloud and it just feels and looks off. So this is one of those examples. And we're going to look at it with enhancement so you can see what I mean. Sorry, I'm just trying to grab my cursor. So here we go. We're going to look at points of interest A and B. And here we go. So A, it just seemed to be a little structure happening on the edge here with a little bright point. And down here too, there's a bright point and then a darker shadow, which may even pass behind here and end up over here at this point. And as I've talked about in other shows, whenever I see a bright point, those always really interest me because it's either something reflecting off a surface of metal or something of that nature, or it's like a pinhole light generated from craft. So in this particular case, I think this is a light where my cursor is down at B2, because it's a perfectly formed circle, and it seemed like these also might be lights or some other features on an overall craft to me. And up here, it just seems like this little piece is jutting up and another piece jutting up here with a triangular form. So to me, there is definitely something cloaking back in here, or it's part of a bigger something happening even beyond in here. Let's see what you think. Okay, this is just called strange cloud activity. I'm going to go through this little sequence pretty fast because there wasn't anything specific jutting out in terms of a part. But in this particular case, it has these concentric curves. You see where my cursor is going. And they're, nice and even. And so to me, that is, whenever you have like a perfect geometry or symmetry happening in the sky, and it's not just like a planet or a sphere, you take extra notice these days. So to me, there's something definitely going on up here. So we're going to look at it with enhancement. And then to my surprise, we get a warm color signature happening up in here. Oh, and then we start to see also little bits and pieces of some detail happening along those concentric curves. So we're going to look at it also in this format. On the left is another view of it. And on the right, I just really blew out the enhancements on it in an exaggerated way, just to see if I could pick out anything else happening here with these seemingly more solid pieces. So are these things cloaking within the cloud? I'm not sure. But I just thought I would present it to you anyway, see what you think. Again, what's interesting is where the warm signature is popping up. So is this an object cloaking back even beyond here? Hard to say. See what you think. Okay, this is another similar situation where I see these lines. They're not concentric, but they're kind of even, bars pitched on an angle. And then we've got this other kind of chaotic cloud activity. Let's just say cloud in quotes. I call this staccato cloud when it's all choppy and blurred. Then it looks like there's something happening here where my cursor is as well. Something looks like a cloaking craft. It's got a nice even curve and some symmetry happening in these indentations. So plus the quality of the light was weird, and the position of it in the sky was strange as well. So we're going to look at another enhancement of this one. And you can just see there's some kind of warmer light source happening in here where it goes a little golden here, and then white up at the top. So just to me, this whole combination of different cloud types was just strange in and of itself. The fact that these are pitched on an angle and so is this, and the position and the shape of this, everything about this just screamed there's got to be cloaking craft activity happening. And also here where my cursor is, here's that object I was calling out. It looks symmetrical with this curve and then the curve below, and then these two indentations on either side of a bar-like thing. So see what you think is going on here. Okay, this is called red at south only at sunrise. So this really caught my attention. If you look where my cursor is, this red patch is to the south, and then this more golden is happening to the southeast. And this is at sunrise on the 4th of January. So I definitely wanted to take a closer look at this. Plus I had some suspicions that there could be cloaking craft in this whole assembly here, because we've got some little bright points popping out that could be structure or lighting. It's hard to say. But the main thing is, how do we get red just over here where my cursor is? And is that red really being hidden, in a bigger mass or sphere, beyond it? So we're going to look at this with some enhancement and look at that. That red just turns fiery. And again, this turns really golden. And those little spots that I was watching, when I put enhancement on something and everything takes on a color of a hue or goes gray, and these things where my cursor is still hold true in white, it just shows me there might be something cloaking craft hiding in there. Now we also see a little bit of a hue here where my cursor is, of red-pink extending upward appears from this. So what's going on here? Hard to say. Here's another red at south only at sunrise view. And then here we go. You can see it a little more in my exaggerated enhancement of where this bigger red-pink sphere or spherical-like object is hiding behind a host of different things. So cloud activity, atmospheric disturbance, you name it. Alright, this one's called Cloaking Craft at Sunrise, and we're looking south, and so I put letter A because this starts to look very curious to me, not at all like any typical cloud cover. These certainly aren't, the puffy white cumulus clouds or even gray ones. We've got rough edges on here. Looks like something is shooting off from here in this trajectory along this line. So I put A there so we could take a look at this whole thing with some enhancement. Here we go. So look at this. I mean, to me this has to be some type of craft with a projectile or a craft shooting off from it, launching from there. Looks like something's happening off of here too. We have like exactly an acute angle coming here. We have something else happening down here. We've got white points again, and when everything else with extreme enhancement turns to a color or gray. So we're going to look at this one more time with even more extreme enhancement. And look at this. There's something projecting off of here. To me, that's an object. It has structure to it here as well where my cursor is. And look at just this overall shape. It's just very odd. And it has to be, either one overall craft or multiple craft docking together is what I'm going to say. Alright, this one's just, again, Cloaking Craft at sunrise. And this one was really unusual because I really wasn't expecting much when I took the picture. I did notice it to the naked eye when I was observing. These seem to be regular openings. So again, that looks very engineered. With purpose, has a design with purpose. They have equal spacing, they follow a curve, and there's other things going on up here where my cursor is. So you better believe we're looking at it with enhancement to the right, and this is the cover photo. So we've enhanced it to not only draw out the red that was happening beyond, but now we see, this definitely must be a cloaking craft because these still hold true as being bright, and they're either light sources or structural features on some type of cloaking craft. And then here we get a look and we see some shadow, so these things have dimension to them as well. So I'm going to call that cloaking craft for sure. See what you think though. And now we've zoomed in. Sorry, this is on the cover, the zoomed in version. But again, look at these. We're looking at these little points, which I'm just going to call points of light, even though they're, clearly more than points. But then we have these other, perfect like geometrical shapes and spheres and things, ellipsoidal. So what is going on? I'm not exactly sure. This looks like actually it's falling down, this little object here with a little trail of vapor behind it, or cloaking material. So see what you think. And actually when I talk about cloaking material, I simply mean it could be plasma, it could be water vapor, it could be who knows what kind of substance that provides the cloak. And when I talk about craft, I'm talking about something that is either three-dimensional that you can actually touch, something tactile, but it also could be something interdimensional. So sometimes it's hard to tell. Or it could be a 3D object that's phasing in and out of dimension. So, or, coming and going from the Earth atmosphere. Alright, this one is again Cloaking Craft. Once more, a lot of this is a sixth sense feeling, even if you can't see it right away. But here I notice a bright point where everything else has like a gray hue to it. So we're going to look at this with enhancement, and then we start to see a very different picture. So we start to see definitely little points and little things popping out that look to me like structure and look to me like something is cloaking beyond. Even here we have like a straight line moving in the background. Alright, this one was just a strange array of, not even array, just strange patterning of cloud or water vapor or plasma up in the sky. Just, when you have something trailing down like this, you have something with a ripple effect to it. To me, that's always a sign of electromagnetic wave activity or some other kind of wave activity disturbing the atmosphere. And then you start to see structure, linear structure happening beyond. And then these things kind of like pointed, triangular pieces. So we're going to look at this with enhancement as well. And look at this one, really turns out nice. I don't know what's going on in here, but to me this is some type of structure of a cloaking craft in here as well. I'm not sure if this is overall one assembly cloaking, or like an arm sticking out from the side, stabilizing arm of a craft or something, really big one, or if this is just multiple things happening. But anyway, you slice it, this is just strange activity more than just, typical cloud cover. Okay, this one is called Artificial Puddle Cloud at sunrise, and this I've covered on other shows. It's just this huge towering cloud that wells up in a fan type shape, like a cone. It spreads out on angle, and then this thing puddles out at the top, and it started taking over, consuming the entire sky and spreading over toward the east, and it was coming from the southwest. And then pretty soon it enveloped the entire sky, heading over to the east. So what was the genesis of this? It has an origin point down here because it's spreading out like a flashlight in that direction, if you will. Not sure. Again, is this just ET technology? Advanced tech of some type, or is it military? Is it human-made technology, or is it a combination of both? I'm not sure. But here, when we put some enhancement on it, you see some, flash points of different colors and different things happening within this overall puddling cloud. Okay, this is called Cloaking Craft at sunrise. Again, some strange types of, I'll just use the term cloud loosely, material floating through here. At the same time, we have bright white bits and points happening beyond. So definitely wanted to take a look at this with some enhancement, and then you see quite a wild display of color. And so we have warm tones and whatever this material is floating through. And then we still get a hint of a little structure happening where my cursor is on this thing in the back. And also in here, it looks like something's cloaking. Looks like something's dropping down with like two strands of something. And yeah, just a whole lot of strange. This too looks like Cloaking Craft Beyond. See what you think. Okay, this one left as the original rights with enhancement. Just seemed again like a whole lot of something was going on behind this thick, plasma or water vapor, cloud material, whatever that was. And, again, I see little bits and points that tell me there could be a lot more than meets the eye right now, cloaking beyond. Okay, and this is just sunrise at the southeast. So there was a glimpse of this thing, even though the fog, or not fog, but, heavy blanketed smoke and plasma, whatever that is, rolled in, as I talked about earlier. When we look at A, that was the sun, supposedly. So you shouldn't be able to look at it, pure and true like that. So to me, that was very artificial feeling. 8.1 and just zoomed in, enhanced a bit to see if we could get any other reading of what was going on. A lot of really strange stuff happening here, the top of the edge of this cloud, that makes me suspect that there's got to be cloaking craft happening in here. Anyway, we look at 8.2, zooming in on this area just to see if anything else pops out. And I notice these two weird stick-like things coming down. And looks like it's a part of something else, something bigger happening beyond here. So I venture to say that even this might be some type of cloaking craft or tech, happening right behind or next to this quote-unquote sun. All right, here's another side-by-side. Left is the original, right is the enhancement of that quote-unquote sun. So where my cursor is, that ball disappeared up into this thick gray blanket, and I've talked about that happening a lot on other shows and what that means and the implications of an artificial sun, and do look at some other shows on that. But anyway, especially the sun is not alone in one of my earlier shows, and also I hope you're looking at other Earth and Sky watching channels around the world on YouTube. There's a lot of great direct observation evidence from a ton of people watching the skies all over the world. And so in this case, it just looked like something strange was going on here. So I caught it to the right with some enhancement, and then, matter of seconds later, it turned into this thin line of light just disappearing. This looks like an object here, and I think that's the one that I was noting next to that ball, what we were calling the sun. So to me, that is some type of cloaking object. And then up here where my cursor is, this is just the enhanced version, so you can see the line of where the warm activity is, of whatever light source that was. And then again, this blurred area looks like a cloaking craft to me. But see what you think. Okay, and this is just triangular object and strange clouds. If you follow my cursor, once again, we have a triangle, undeniable triangle. And then there's something strange happening up here, and then there was regular, light happening down here below. So I thought something definitely was cooking, so to speak. All this disturbance, look at the way these clouds look so choppy. They don't look like any type of natural cloud. Something was definitely going on up in here. There's way too much atmospheric disturbance and weird light sources happening in here. And look at here, we have a triangle and 3 points of light there. And again, when you get a pure shape like that in geometry, symmetrical as a triangle, what the heck is going on? That's just a question. I don't have the answer for this one. But I did put some enhancement on it. Again, we got all this choppy, what I call staccato cloud and fuzziness going on. And so, yeah, I'm not really sure what was going on here. So here's the one last zoom in on that triangle where my cursor is. And I was just trying to get at what else is going on. We got little lit up bits here and there. But everything was still too concealed for me to see anything. But maybe you see something I don't see. And that's another note. If you happen to see stuff and I don't call it out, I probably just overlooked it. Or for time purposes, I'm trying to get through the show with a good running time. So if you see something and you're interested and you'd like me to put some enhancements on it or call it out further, I'll be happy to do so in a future show. Okay, this is called Pinhole Lights at Object in Strange Clouds. This is again a view of that similar to what we just saw. This was a little bit later in a different location looking in the same direction. Now I notice not only that white spot growing in weird ways, but then over here where I have A in this general area, I see what I'm calling pinhole lights. Again, like that other example earlier on, it has like a, following a curve, and we have like these light points. So we're definitely going to look at this with enhancement. Here we see that blast of light, whatever's going on, and here we see these like are very regular, look like they've been designed with intention. And then we start to see too, this starts to look a little rectangular like. And we're going to look at it again, zoomed in. And again, if these aren't light, they're something else that are creating reflection or something. And again, this overall mass is starting to look like rectangular in form. So just something strange is going on with this overall thing. I have to believe that this is Cloaking Craft because it looks like it has intelligent design. Okay, this is just called Red Pink Sphere, Strange Clouds. So on the left, this is looking south at a sunset. And just look at the patterning of this quote-unquote cloud. Again, just really, really strange. So when I ran enhancements on it to the right, voila, we even see a red-pink sphere happening beyond. So I do believe that this is kind of smoke and mirrors cloud cover to distract people from seeing the fact, that there's this pink signature happening beyond. And then just over, a little more west from where we were just looking, here's the scene happening over there. So we've got warm color way down below where we had that red sphere stuff happening here off to the left. And then when I put enhancement on it over here to the right of this whole scene, you just see, down where my cursor is, that's supposedly the sunset happening there. But we still get a huge burst of warm signature here. We get some weird shapes and activity happening here. Look at the shapes of these things diving down. They look like, like a dart shape heading down. Just really, really strange. And then this looks like triangular form up to a point. So what's going on here, I can't tell you, but I thought it was interesting, and I thought I should share it. All right, now we get back to pretty much an image we can recognize. So this is just looking somewhere in the Florida Keys. The last few photos I give credit to a very kind friend of the Lavender Sky Panther channel, so thank you, you know who you are. So these were taken out just on a boat out in the bay, or in the sea. And so here you see not only, the sunset, so the sun's going down, but there seems to be like a smudgy kind of aura around this thing. It looks really strange. But beyond that, you see chemtrailing happening here and here. That's very deliberate lines that stay there forever. They don't dissipate readily, as do condensation trails. That's why I'm calling them contrails. And do have a look at chemtrails. That's why I'm calling them chemtrails. Do look at a previous show that I've done that points out the definition and differences between the two. And also just look at the strangeness of this kind of consistency and form of this kind of cloud activity. Just a whole lot of strangeness going on here, so we're going to look at it with some enhancement. In this case, I took out all the color just to try to look at it in a different way. And it really does enhance the crisscross X pattern of the chemtrail. Okay, and then here's another scene also somewhere in the Florida Keys, not long after the previous, or right around the time of the previous photo. And again, we see this little aura of, kind of more golden color around this white ball. Look how strange this ball is, elongated and strange. So I've got to say that's an artificial sun. Here, there's also kind of a hint of a blue sphere happening beyond, excuse me, cyan. So there just seems like something's being veiled, beyond all of this mess. What exactly it is, I don't know. And here we go one more time. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. One more time, I just took out the color just to look at this in a different way and just concentrate on the odd shape that this is supposed to be the sun. That's, not very much so not a natural looking sun. And here's one more view back on the water. And in this case, you can kind of see a darker ball happening beyond like a shadow. So is that some other planetary body being hidden through a lot of solar tech and stuff happening up there, up in the atmosphere, or even further out? Look at this wild display, this diving down of chemtrails in a weird pattern. This looks like it's one of those more ethereal air elementals that I talk about in other shows. So a lot of crazy stuff's happening here. But all in all, it's otherwise a normally serene looking photo. So anyway, I want to just say thank you for reflecting on things here a while with me in this show. I wish you all again just a fantastic start to the 2021 and the whole year through. And that's about it. So tremendous peace to everyone. Best wishes, Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.